Buckle up because this list is packed with unforgettable stories and stunning artwork that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Ready to discover your next obsession? Let's get started. Number 10. Tower of God. A young boy named Bam has spent most of his life trapped at the base of a mysterious tower with his only friend in the world, Rachel. When Rachel enters the tower without him, he decides to go in after her, even if it means risking his own life to do so. Ascending the tower won't be easy, but luckily for him, he'll meet plenty of allies along the way who can help him. Why it's worth reading. Many people criticize the anime adaptation of this series for not properly explaining a major twist involving Rachel. Fortunately, the Manhwa does a much better job of building up to this twist and making Rachel appear more sympathetic. Adaptation issues aside, it's a genuinely cool story featuring an unusual magic system and a group of compelling characters with varying goals. Number 9. Windbreaker J is a straight-A student who spends his time on academic pursuits like running the student council. After he's forced to join the Hummingbird crew, his school's bike team, he realizes that there's more to life than studying. Why it's worth reading. Cycling isn't a commonly discussed sport in most mediums. So, for bike fans who've already burned through Yowamushi Pedal, this is a great next read. But what really makes this series stand out is its characters. Specifically the women, who are confident and powerful. Also, the character designs are great, with no one who appears generic. Number 8. Bastard. Jin Seon is the son of a serial killer who has no choice but to act as his father's accomplice. But when his father sets his sights on the girl that Jin has a crush on, he finds himself with a difficult choice to make. Why it's worth reading. This is an extremely suspenseful story. The protagonist is in a dangerous situation from the start with his proximity to his father, so the stakes are high from the jump. The twists and turns that the plot takes are completely unexpected. It keeps readers guessing every step of the way. Number 7. Ellis Seed. Ji-woo possesses lightning-quick speed that allows him to do all kinds of good deeds. He teams up with Kaden, a secret agent trapped in the body of an overweight cat. At first, they have trouble getting along, but if they can put their differences aside and work together, they can take on just about anyone. Why it's worth reading. For fans of shonen manga, Ellis Seed makes a great starting point for getting into manhwa. While the plot doesn't offer anything particularly innovative, it's a fun action series. The fight scenes are clearly drawn, exciting, and engaging. Ji-woo and Kaden's relationship is a lot of fun to read about, especially to see how it progresses over time. Number 6. Sweet Home. A suicidal high school student must work with the other people in his apartment building in order to survive in a post-apocalyptic world, where people transform into monsters whose forms reflect their most secret desires. Why it's worth reading. Apocalyptic monster fighting aren't uncommon, but Sweet Home's spin on the subject is an imaginative one. The idea that the monsters reflect people's innermost secrets is a great opportunity for character development, and this series does an excellent job using that premise to the fullest. Also, just like Bastard, another project by these creators, Sweet Home has a strong sense of suspense. Number 5. The Boxer. Legendary boxing coach K hopes to find someone to pass on his skills to. When he comes across a young man who is standing there allowing himself to be beaten up without defending himself, he sees more than just a helpless victim. He sees somebody with the physical grace and strength needed to become a great boxer. For his part, the young man has only one question about the prospect of training. He wants to know whether hitting people is fun. Why it's worth reading. The reasons behind the young man's odd behavior are surprisingly complex. He's developed an almost supernatural ability to see time in slow motion, allowing him to react to things perfectly. Why can he do this? Because of intense childhood trauma. Though he doesn't seem to feel anything, his participation in boxing brings him to life. This is a great series from a character development perspective. Also, some of the boxing matches are just plain cool. Number 4. The Greatest Estate Developer. Civil engineering student Suho Kim falls asleep while reading a fantasy novel and wakes up in the world of his book. Now inhabiting the body of Lloyd Frontera, a booze-loving noble, he discovers that his new family is deep in debt. He decides to use his engineering knowledge, and a little bit of magic, to help his family overcome the mountain of financial problems they face. Why it's worth reading. It's hard to make an immoral character likable, yet this series makes it look easy. Although Lloyd is determined to swindle every last cent out of everyone he meets, he's so hilarious while doing it that you can't help but root for him to succeed. Also, the characters have fun, exaggerated facial expressions that make their designs all the more enjoyable. Number 3. The Legend of the Northern Blade. After the leader of the Northern Heavenly Sect is accused of colluding with the enemy, he takes his own life. The martial arts group nearly disbands, but Jin Muwan is determined to keep the sect going. A group called the Silent Knight is still a threat, and he isn't going to let them have their way, even if it means the whole world is against him. Why it's worth reading. This series features some incredible fight scenes that effectively showcase the protagonist's strengths. He fulfills many readers' desire to see a protagonist destroy their opponents with incredible powers, and he also has emotional development that lines up well with the plot. Overall, it's a well-crafted, exciting story, and it's hard to ask for more than that. Number 2. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. After reading a novel called 3 Ways to Survive in a Ruined World, office worker Kim Doksha is suddenly transported into the world of the book. He knows how the world is going to end, but he isn't willing to simply accept it. Instead, he decides to change things by undergoing scenarios, challenges operated by dokaibi, or goblins from Korean mythology. Why it's worth reading. In some ways, this reads like a typical isekai, but there are several plot twists that make it stand out. Most characters who know about some form of doom because they've entered a fictional realm are simply trying to save themselves. This takes things to a whole new level. Also, despite being pretty dark at the start, it can be surprisingly funny in spite of, or sometimes because of, its content. Number 1. Solo Leveling. In a world where hunters enter dungeons to destroy monsters for financial gain, Sung Jin Woo is notorious for being one of the weakest of them all. A hunter's abilities are typically set from the beginning, but a mysterious computer program offers him the chance to be the only person who can actually level up. This improves his chances in the dungeon, but it also makes his life a lot more complicated. Why it's worth reading. If you're an anime fan, there's a high chance that you've come across this one, since it's an extremely popular anime title. If you're a fan of the anime, the manhwa is worth a shot. But even if you've never seen the anime, it's still worthwhile. The protagonist's growing understanding of his powers and their implications is nuanced and deep, and the fights are intense and dark. And there you have it, our picks for the top 10 best manhwa of all time. Did we miss any of your favorites? Drop a comment below and let us know which manhwa deserves a spot on this list. If you enjoyed the countdown, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content covering the best manhwa, webtoons, and comics out there. And don't forget to ring the bell so you're the first to know when we upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy reading.